Just if the room gets a bit heated and you need a breather, you open a courtyard outside and shut off and it's still going to be up there. And it's outside. But just... You're right, like you're around to not stand for anything.
How you doing? Good.
Yeah. No, sorry, I'm just being quite nosy. By the way, we do have one person that's actually going to be 59 people. Yeah. Yep. Will you let me know when the question change or anything like that?
You'll know because the room will start. If you can do it so that as I come up with the mic, we read the paper. Once it moves from the table, you come up and do the switch.
Once you move from...
Once I move.
Okay.
Sorry? I haven't seen the
I'm good. I'm Justin. Nice to meet you again. So you're
good afternoon, everyone, good evening. Just a 5-minute call. So we'll get underway in about 5 minutes if you want to take a seat. And we'll go from there. Thank you. Okay, everyone, welcome. Come through, take a seat anywhere that you're comfortable. So we've got a number of groups and tables. Grab a cup of tea quickly if you'd like. We will kick off in a couple of minutes.
Ah!
We're going to start in a few moments, so welcome, take a seat where you can find a place. Looks like we've got an excellent turnout, so welcome everyone. So to start our proceedings, we'll have a karakia just to get us underway. So thank you.
I'm the Chief Executive here, Kāpiti District Council, so thanks for coming up tonight. I've come here this evening. I've been asked to open us with a karakia, and I'll hand it to you. Inoi tātou. Whakatake hau ki te ora, whakatake hau ki te tonga, kia mā ki tēnā ki uta, kia mā taratara ki pai. E hi ana, e hi aka, aki ana, he atakura, he tio, he huka, he haudu, a ki hei mauri ora. Kia ora.
Okay, so looking forward to a great evening tonight. So just to introduce myself, my name's Stephen Daish. I hail from Hawke's Bay these days. I'm a resource management trained person. I do a lot of hearings around the country for all sorts of projects, renewable energy projects. I've been asked to facilitate today, and I'm the facilitator for the wider coastal advisory panel process. I'm doing a lot of work at the moment in Hawke's Bay post-cyclone Gabriel, working with some of the communities around East Valley in particular, who are struggling to come to terms with that issue. So yeah, it's a busy time. Look, I'll kick off with some health and safety notices. So earthquake, the rule of it's loud and strong or long and strong, drop, roll under the table if you can. There's exits at the back, which is a preferable exit, and have a near that's out as well. We are in a tsunami zone, so if there's any orange or anything, we can head out towards the road, the old main road, and toilets, the little door at the back there behind Sophie and her lovely blue coat, which she is. Yes, so look, I'd like to make a big welcome to everyone, and welcome to councillors and staff and for you lovely people from Paekākāriki. This is quite an important session. It's a kick-off for our whole process, thinking about coastal hazard issues for this particular community. We're going to, I'll run the process in a very open way. If you've got any particular questions, come and see me through the process. I'll be clear with what we're doing as we work our way through. But yeah, we're here in a respectful, helping way, because what we're looking to do is work with the community, get your views on the table, and then look ahead to the future with these coastal hazard issues. So that's me. I'll hand over to Jim Bolger, who is the chair of the CAP, just to introduce the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening all, and join Stephen. Welcome. Thanks for coming, and I hope you find it valuable and useful. Can I just set out a couple of parameters? These workshops are the first step of the CAP's work, and we're there to help the council determine its final plan. But only if we make recommendations, they make the final decisions. There are media present here, I think. There's going to be media here. Oh, there, yeah, that's right. It's almost hidden in that corner there. That's in case anybody wants to make a grand statement to get on the news or something. Let you know in advance of that. The few CAP members are here, I'm going to invite them to put their hands up so they want to see them over here. Good, so we know where to find them, we can chat to them. The CAP is only looking at coastal hazard options and adaptation, and will present our recommendations in May next year to the council. We do not look at the following: groundwater flooding, which refers the impacts of rain events and river and stream flooding. Council accepts there's a problem in that area. They'll be putting another group together to look at that, but that's not specifically our responsibility to make any comments on that. The recommendations that we produce at the end of our consultation period will help, we hope, help the council reach the right conclusion on that, and any future coastal plan changes that they're bringing in. We will consider costs as we move forward, and those are obviously crucial to everybody. Can I just say the word managed retreat? That's the last option. It seems to me people's mind as the first option. It's the last option that we'll be recommending anywhere, if anywhere. And well, that's about it. I know you've got a seawall down here, designed for the new seawall that's been finalised, and it'll look much like the existing one. I think we'll do that note that I've got. So we want you to engage openly with your table, report from the table back, Stephen will comment from time to time, and hopefully you have an enjoyable evening, but also a constructive and positive one. So that's what we want, constructive and positive. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming and showing your interest in being part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. And the CAP's been doing a lot of great work up and down the coast, and I'll give you a presentation shortly just to set the scene. But in terms of the code of conduct today, we're looking for just a lot of engagement around 4 questions we're going to give you around the table, and there'll be a chance to report back, and I'll just make some notes about the main points that come through around the questions. In terms of the code of conduct, we don't want to, I'll monitor the room. You'll have a chance to speak and report back from the tables, but we just want to keep it congenial and respectful for everyone in the room, including our wonderful council people and CAP people who are giving their time for the process. So is that all clear? Okay. Great, thank you. So we do need the community voice loud and clear right at the start of thinking about coastal hazard issues with your community. This is why we start kicking off with this community session. We'll get underway with the PowerPoint presentation. So Al, first, I've got a clicker, I think, haven't I? Here we go. All right, so just, can anyone see past me, or do you want me to move across to the side of it? I'll just come across here a little bit. How's that? Okay. So, the floor, yes, do that. Just turn them off. We'll have like a movie show. Yeah. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So, in terms of planning for the Coastal Advisory Panel process, one of the first things the CAP did was think about the communities of interest and the different beach processes that occur up and down the coast, because coastal processes are different throughout different areas of Kāpiti Coast, and the district council area has been split into 5 adaptation areas. The northern area you see in pink, the yellow area around Waikanai, Paekākāriki, Raumati, there in brown and green, Kiwitu Park, and Paekākāriki in the blue. So this is an individual adaptation area. It's got its own distinct character, features, context and community. So we're underway with your community. We're sort of working our way from north to south. So look, you won't be able to read this because of the white writing, but this is sort of a process wheel that we've developed, which follows the New Zealand guidance from the Ministry for Environment for councils and how they deal with coastal hazard planning and adaptation planning. And as you see, we're really at the very first start. So we're looking to define an objective for the Paekākāriki area, and defining that objective brings in the values that we're going to pick up today from your community. I've got another slide to show you through the next stages, but essentially we're following this same wheel for all of the 5 adaptation areas. And this is happening all over the country. I've facilitated a similar process in Hawke's Bay with 9 communities there that are at risk as well. So that was in 2018, so we went through the same process there. So just emphasising again that this is the first step of our Paekākāriki.
Apologies.
Good idea. Probably a reminder to turn your phones on to silent. Thanks, Sharon. Yeah. And the CAP has a recommendatory role. There are a group of community people who have been asked by the council to look at everything from a blank sheet, listen to the community, and go through the recommendatory role. So these are the steps. We're gathering values from the community which will help inform the objective for this area. Then there's a whole bunch of different approaches that can be done for communities that are subject to coastal hazards. A whole range of things can be done. But sometimes, depending on the context of the environment in the community, some of those options aren't really technically suitable. So we've got a big long list of ideas and options that can be taken. But we go through a short listing of what's going to work here with the community. We look at the risk assessment, so we cover all of the issues that might be at risk. You know, the ecology, the landscape, the technical risks, the pipes in the ground, all those sorts of things. And we have subject matter experts, so experts in all those areas are providing their expert advice on the risks. Then we've got 8 criteria that we test our concepts around, and we weight those into what's most important against the less important ones for each area. And one of the key process for the guidance from the government is that councils need to go through what's called a dynamic adaptive pathways process, planning process, or DAP, D-A-P-P. And those pathways are looked at for 100 years, so it's a long time horizon. And the reason that we're required to look at for 100 years, or the council, is in the New Zealand Coastal Policy Statement, which all councils have to adhere to, and we all have to, there's a requirement that thinking about coastal areas and sea level rise and hazards, there's a requirement for councils to think ahead for up to 100 years. So it's a long time frame. And so we don't know when events might change. So we've got these broad, short, medium, long term that the pathways are around. And we're just looking to prepare for if there's a certain threshold met where your short-term action isn't working anymore. There's a next action that's sort of planned by the community to go to if we need to, and then after that in the long term, sea level rise is projected to rise over a long period of time. There's another plan, and the communities can just get themselves set and make their own plans for what happens. We then score the pathways against the criteria, and then the CAP presents their draft recommendations back to this community for discussion before they make the recommendations to council. So it's quite a process. It will take us a few months to work our way through this with Paekākāriki, and we're following the same process, in the same process that I've done in Hawke's Bay and Wellington as well.
Can you tell us what MCDA is and what are the 8 criteria?
Okay, so that's multi-criteria decision analysis. So the criteria cover all the things you expect. Things like natural values, ecology, community effects, technical issues around infrastructure, and iwi, matters of cultural interest to iwi. So those are the matters that we deal with. And those issues are all available online in terms of the way the CAP is working through those criteria. Hope that answers the question. Yes.
What are the horizons for short, medium and long term?
They're kept general because we don't know, because there's uncertainty about the rate of sea level rise, but there'll be thresholds and triggers when you need to move from a short-term action to a medium-term action. And those thresholds, depending on how the world behaves and what happens with events, it might be 10 years before you need to move from short to medium. It might be 40 years. Just depends on the uncertainty of what actually comes up. Could be possibly 2 years. If you were hit seriously, as we were in Hawke's Bay, if you were hit smack on this coast by a Cyclone Gabriel type event, and one Gita hit Macra Beach, just down full on, and I was involved with them, it could be pretty quick. You might have to make some changes.
Yeah, that's a weather event, not a sea level.
Yeah, but that's, as the sea level rises, those events become more and more common. Excuse me, can I just calm down? I'm just trying to explain, and I'm going back to my code of conduct that we're going to be respectful, and sort of yelling out like this is not helpful to anyone. And I will call you up. Thank you.
In terms of the different time thresholds and what's working, as well as all the impacts of the natural world and the environment and community and so forth, how does cost come in? So in terms of tipping something, its efficacy might still be there, but who and how is the cost decided in relation to
so when the pathways are framed up, the top 3 of each area are going to be tested for an economic assessment, and that will be done at the end for all the pathways together. So that information will be available to the council before it makes its final decision, because something might be wonderful on paper and sound really good, but it might be really unaffordable. And that's what happened in my experience in Hawke's Bay. Some of the higher ranked pathways that were done through the multi-criteria assessment, they just became unaffordable. So second or third options were taken. So an overall package of pathways was chosen. So look, I'll move on, and certainly in terms of any questions that you're busting to ask, and I'm going to keep moving on, there's what do we call it, a parking lot. So write those up there and we'll capture those. So I'll take one more question before we move on.
My question was about the model, like, are there different scientific models that can be used to assess outcomes in terms of changes and what they mean? And if there are all the councils using the same model throughout New Zealand?
Yes.
Or
There's very clear guidelines on how the modelling is undertaken. and all the councils that I am working with are using the same guidelines. Different people will do the modelling, but they're under the same methodology. So that provides consistency, and that's quite important. So for Kāpiti, there is one model prepared by expert team. But the same model criteria and how they do it is exactly the same all over New Zealand. Okay? So, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of possible adaptation options. So you'll see the pathways will include sometimes status quo options in the short term. There are enhancement options, accommodation where you might, for example, build buildings up slightly higher to above protected flood levels. There's some protection, so that's essentially seawalls, scrawlings, breakwaters, those sorts of things, so hard structures, similar to what you've got here at Paekākāriki. Avoiding is stopping new development happening in areas that we know are at risk. And lastly, things get overwhelmed through more and more frequent events. This term retreat is there, so some of the pathways include that, and they're assessed against the various criteria. So this is just an example for you for the northern area around Otaki, and it's on the open coast. It's an erosion unit where erosion is modelled to be up into that 100-year period. Quite a lot of those Otaki beachfront areas would be basically eroded away. So these are the three preferred pathways that were developed there that will be put through the economic assessment. So you'll see there, the highest scoring pathway was an enhance of the existing systems there. And then in the long term, when the triggers say those houses can't be protected anymore through the enhancement, the community would need to move back. There's another option there, enhanced, with some further soft engineering protection, so that's working the dunes and raising those up and bolstering those. And then there's a retreat in the long term. And the third one was enhancing, but then trying to work with soft engineering as the pathway. So those will be taken forward. We wanted to give you that as an example because managed retreat, it's the same in Hawke's Bay. There are some communities, one I know incredibly well called Hamoana, that community decided that with the facts they had in front of them, they could only protect themselves for so long if sea level rises to what it might be. So that community decided in the long term they need to plan for a retreat. So that might be 60, 70, 80 years, but that's the reality for them if the sea level comes up to the levels that it might be. So we just wanted to show you that as an example. There's an example on the table of that. So look, in terms of information, workshop participant details, there's some sheets on the table so you can fill those out. And certainly in terms of, there's a sign-up sheet as well to the Kāpiti e-newsletter. So really help yourself and fill those out. The session is being recorded and some photos might be taken. So just a heads up that that's the process. Okay?
Who are the photos? They might be just in the Takutai newsletter, but we'll be making an effort, so no close-ups of faces are done. It would be like a abandoned room description. I wouldn't want my face plastered everywhere, so it would be done maybe hands on table, but it's just for a newsletter.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to how we're going to run this. So each table I'll need a scribe. So when we did this at Honga, for example, there was quite a few people saying, yes, I'll do that. So, look, can you just talk for a minute or two amongst yourself, vote a scribe in, and we'll be asking you to write up the ideas on this piece of paper. So, just do that. If you go around each table and you don't have a scribe, Okay, everyone. So I'm going to go around each table. Just hold a moment. So can you? And I'll start. Excuse me. Can I just have the form again, please? I'll just go around each table and put your hand up and do the stride. One here, one here. Yep. Every table's got a stride. Thank you very much. All good. We've lost the PowerPoint. Okay, everyone. Can someone just flick the lights down again to the lamp and the off? Thank you. So I think okay, so for the scribes, please capture all the points of view on your table. There's pens there, and what will happen, there's 4 questions. There'll be a report back from the scribes, then we'll take the sheets away and put another one in place of it. So it's going to be fast and furious. Alright, so here are the questions. Here's the first one, and I always have a rule, the old 80-20 rule, that in terms of the big ideas and the big pictures, getting down quickly is really good. So you have about 8 minutes for the first question to talk and record. Each table I'll go around and get the high points, the first couple of points, and then we'll move to the next question. So any questions on the process? Yes.
So we're not responding to this, we're responding
What do you going most about living here? I'll say that's question number 3, I think. Yeah. Yes. We'll have to change to question 1, sorry. Someone put out the wrong question. So click them up and we'll go to the next one. Okay, each table you should have this question 1, and you've got 8 minutes to record and put the notes down. Thank you.
I think I'd like to introduce myself. Justin. Nice to meet you. I'm sure I'm much better than those than the press gallery in the
past, you know, just commencing.
He knows how to deal with it. Justin's
you got lots of experience. It's tough. I've been quite difficult here in the UK.
Let's go next.
How are you finding
roles of playing the same way with your dance?
That's the romance in adaptation area story. Oh yeah, I sent through one of the library at London. Are you one up for live streaming local government meetings? I'm sure cabinet meetings, chairing cabinet meetings are more interesting. Hi, Jim will back to you.
Hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm the council
No, long story. I was born in Auckland. But I grew up in Hong Kong. Yep. And I came back to Auckland 5-6 years ago for uni. And I started a job. And I started a job at Domino's back then last week. So I've been here for a good 20 minutes.
Okay everyone, 2-minute poll. We've got 10 minutes just to finish this session off.
And then they fill all the gaps themselves. We can learn from
the best breeds are out there. Oh yeah, the people who are having cats. reality check radio, basically. Doesn't really kind of yeah, that's how I didn't play for the other nights. So, job, a week before the clinics, before the big one stopped. Yeah, then I got COVID in 3 weeks. So the past 2 days I've been going in, big day to Parliament, covering the protest. And I was forced to sit out. So this going on to realise. Yeah. Imagine it, I managed to avoid COVID for 2 straight years and it's been 3 days a month to get COVID. Michael's been raising, trying to put this bus stop issue on my radar.
And the overlapping territorial authority is often
Hi everyone, so can we just pull the whole please? Maybe it's going to carry on take the people. Here we go, so everybody's going to come to this table here and get the 2 main points and we're going to go around.
Okay. Our main point is that seawall is pivotal. Stop talking, start renewing and planting. There were various levels of concern about whether medium term, long term, but mitigated by the seawall and the seawall having to be renewed.
Very similar. We had a bit of a talk about very long term and there may need to be relocation and our concerns about how that would affect our really unique close-knit community. But that felt like a conversation that's too soon because, it's like sort out the immediate, which is the seawall, and we've had promises over decades from council about sorting it out. Once that's sorted out, then we can talk about the long term, I think. We talked about the fact that some of the stuff we see now makes it really hard to get grasp on what's happening, because you do see erosion and you also see accretion in different parts of the village. But then there is the concern as well that one of the issues we face at the moment is some people are paying for their own sea protection and others can't afford to, or they haven't done it yet. And so there's a whole lot of inequity at the moment in the kind of future people are facing. And so kind of a more consistent response would go a long way.
We had a bit of a mixed bag in our favour, I suppose. There was views from live on the beachfront and not concerned, with an exclamation mark. Through to, I guess, concerns around maintaining things like access and safety for users. Optimistic about finding solutions to mitigate the hazards, but also, I guess, making sure that we've got time to carefully consider that, and as long as we've got time to do it, then we can mitigate it. And need to immediately improve the existing seawall. The other thing that was raised as well is the impact of the mapping and modelling on insurance going forward. So, although not a hazard, it's an impact of that hazard.
We had two focuses. One was around just the acceptance of what is happening, and then things like practical things like insurance and what it does to community. But the other one that we looked at is around the whole thing of well-being of a community, and what do we know about what that does to a community. Even the tenuousness of not knowing what is going to happen, how it creates anxiety. We've already got the evidence about the research of young people's mental well-being anxiety around climate change. All of these things impact on terms of what we've learned from other communities around that. And community action, collective solution making is the solution to that, increasing our social capital as a community.
A lot of the themes we had here were very consistent with what we've heard, which is always rewarding. So we were very concerned at this table about the risks. We focused on things like insurance, the seawall, house values, community resilience and wellbeing was a theme, and the need for a certain speed and scale of action that was proportionate to the speed and scale of potential impacts.
Hi, my name is Shelley. I've lived in Paekākāriki for over 30 years. It's a bit of a repeat from everything else that's been said. Firstly, we are not concerned about the sea rising. What we are concerned about is the lack of maintenance on the existing seawall. Thank you. We also require ongoing public face-to-face consultations in regards to what's taking place at the moment with CAP, not online Zoom meetings, as we've seen in some ways. Lack of proper measures is something that we are concerned with and require some clarifications on. Other stuff here, the uncertainty in the longer term is something that we are concerned about here. Our property values, the cost of the seawall, and I'm going to let my neighbour here just expand a bit on this last one.
ecological diversity, amenity and access.
Thank you. That's us.
Thank you.
I think we had all of those things as well. I guess what's going to come through is there's definitely a level of anxiety and concern over the lack of progress to date, and that we're not getting things done. So that's probably, we had a variety of from not that concerned to very concerned, but I think it kind of came back to the same thing at the end of the day, that we are really concerned, but it's just reflected in how everybody feels a little bit differently about the confidence and whether we can get to a solution.
We just have an incomplete list of the obvious, I think, which consists of loss of property, total or partial, the loss of infrastructure, roads, water, car, shelter, water table rise, loss of life, loss of livelihood, loss of access, for example, to Wellington or further north, destruction of recreational values, landscape beauty, and etc., as exemplified by Queen Elizabeth Park. E, forgot to put the letters in, we don't know how many billions, or was it trillions of bucks, the various scenarios will cost under what conditions. This will coincide with insurance evaporation, which is quite likely. I don't think that's terrifying enough.
Okay, I think we're done, is that all right? Yes, thank you, that was fantastic, right? Really thoughtful comments coming through. I love the one about needing to be proportionate to the risk in terms of timing. That process actually does sort of factor that in. So the immediate concerns need to be done first, and the costs of the immediate actions will come through the economics and feed into the recommendation. So look, that was excellent. We'll now move to the second question. How do you think the coastline should be protected? Again, you've got just a few minutes, 8 minutes, get it down, and then we'll go around again. Thank you.
Yeah, good to talk to you.
I wasn't. I was expecting
Everyone, just one more minute or so, and we'll come out and give some feedback. Hey everyone, we'll just finish this question now, and we'll go around, probably going over this side. But just for the scribes, can you just put your table number on top of your sheet, please? And Eddie will go on the table there. Thank you.
if you guys can't find your table number, they're stuck to your head when you use on your table.
Okay, thanks so much. Now, we thought unanimously that the present seawall has got to be there as soon as possible. Second big point, we agreed that varying geographical realities, just think of Main Street and further north, require research that's not available at this meeting. And it should be multidisciplinary because we need to know about, this phrase this morning, it sounds clever, the kinetic energy of wave motion has actually doubled since about 1987. That's huge factor according to this article I skimmed. Botany is very important as are looking after wildlife, not to mention all the other things mentioned last time around about access. And another serious matter is we've got to also bear in mind that we could easily get, and we will eventually, a new coastline. You can go up the hill there, you can pick up seashells. It could be within our lifetime that the just one earthquake means that the seawall, if we need one, will be somewhere near Kāpiti Island. That's not impossible at all. And there was one more point which I didn't catch. Okay, I think that's right. Bruce, thank you.
We concluded that seawalls do work, and we've observed it here for a very long time now. And we have the ability to build very robust seawalls. Cost will be an issue, of course, but we believe there's no other option. And the thing about sea level rise, we believe that seawalls are a viable option in the short, definitely, medium, probably, and even perhaps in the long term in terms of those thresholds. And also in that time, technology and construction techniques will improve, so we may have even better ways of building these things. There is maybe a place where the natural approach could be considered, and that would be like through Queen Elizabeth Park, where you could let it go and have a dune type system, passive system, but we don't believe it's an option for urban areas.
Hi again. How do you think our coastline should be protected? In Paekākāriki, it's a seawall. It's not when, it's now. We need to get onto this now, i.e. the seawall extension. Existing seawall requires ongoing maintenance. Doing nothing is not an answer. The protection and maintenance of the Paekākāriki seawall should be enshrined in policy. We require a streamlined council. And just to finish this off, when I asked this question of everyone around our table, nobody knew when the last work/maintenance was done on the seawall. I did not get an answer. I cannot remember. So there we are.
We also talked about the seawall. So one of the issues we discussed was private versus public seawalls and clarity around what homeowners are able to do, alongside equitable provision of a certain level of protection from public infrastructure. We talked about seawalls and how certain engineering can actually exacerbate erosion issues and the need to avoid that. And we also talked about using natural or sponge solutions where possible.
One of the questions here is actually, what do you want to protect? Because, for instance, if you look around the parade, a lot of the infrastructure, like power and that, is underneath that. So do you build down to protect infrastructure? Like the parade itself may actually become one track or non-existent. So what are we trying to protect is really quite an important question about that. The second part is, as I said before, is what will technology engineering come up with solutions that we don't know about or we think are impossible at the moment. So we need to be open to that, because there seems to be limited options at the moment between going from protecting the seawall and then managed retreat almost like, and what's in between. I think we need to have much more discussion about where are those other solutions. And I think then also is the question is around managed retreat, we need to start thinking about this now. You cannot put it off. The evidence around how we do that is really clear. I did work with World Health on these kind of issues. So it's really important that we are thinking about it. Like the question is, where do people go? What would a managed retreat look like in our community? And the other final point is, what are the mitigating things we are doing, whether it's using planting or other things to mitigate as each risk becomes more a reality in the community.
So I'm just checking what the new additions to our pages. We're not the first community to have to adopt or adapt, so yeah, look to other examples around the world globally for solutions, or other areas around the country such as Eastbourne or the airport. I guess the key thing as well is just maintenance of the existing walls that are here. And if we are designing and building new walls, then we should consider things like the aesthetic value, access for the beach as well, and little blue penguins that also need to get from the shore to wherever they nest. Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay. I'll just highlight a couple of things that maybe haven't so much come out yet. One of the things was that there's been a lot of focus on the parade, and that does make sense, but it's not the only road in the village that has a community function, even though it does have the council aspects that it's protected. So Main Street, for example, does provide us with alternative highway access. The other things people do, we've talked quite a bit about the idea of reducing the parade to one way or one lane in terms of reducing the traffic and wear on the road, and that would allow more planting and more kind of soft adaptation alongside the seawall, because one of the risks we discussed is that relying heavily on hard infrastructure and being unwilling to back away from that can squeeze out the biodiversity. That's a really important part of this village. You end up in a situation where there's basically nowhere for that biodiversity to go because they're just trapped. So getting to the point where we're repeating things that have already been said, we talked quite a lot about the need for a kind of coherent approach across different ownerships of land. So there's, council land and private land, and particularly thinking about Ames Street, you've got the question that came up of what are the rights and obligations of individuals versus the collective. So it's how do we put it together to have a coherent approach that's going to give us an overall outcome that works for everybody, rather than this kind of fragmented thing that we have going on right now. And just to kind of clarify earlier, we would very strongly, as pretty much everyone is, for God's sake, get on with fixing the wall, but that please don't interpret that as we're not worried about sea level rise in the long term. We absolutely are, but that's a first step. That's like a stopgap that kind of keeps us stable, and then I think that gives us some time, buys us some time to think about the longer term. Because it may be that technology will come and there'll be solutions for better walls in the future, but maybe it won't. We'll have to kind of see when we get to that point. And then the final thing, because the question was, how do you think our coastline should be protected? By reducing our carbon footprints and encouraging the world to act on climate change so that we don't need to take the long-term decisions.
So we add our voice to most of what other people have been saying, that in terms of how we think the coastline should be protected, definitely the existing seawall needs to be renewed now. There also needs to be planting for coastal areas, an assessment of Ames Street and what is needed and efficacious there, and also areas for absorption. There needs to be active and ongoing exploration of evolving technologies for protection so that we can take advantage of those. And the question is asked, does the stormwater, including interlocking concrete blocks, as part of that technology to be explored? And also the question is asked, does the stormwater maintenance and outlets contribute in any way negatively to the threat of inundation and erosion? And could they be better managed?
Thank you so much. Again, look, that's a real rich breadth of ideas here, and we certainly know how important the seawall is here, but here we're talking about the possible future as well, so fantastic. I think we're going to move on to number 3, but we're going to give some food around to each table to keep you going. So the third question is there, and you've got the sheet in front of you. Do the same thing. Talk amongst yourselves, and we'll be back in touch. Thank you. Thank you.